Today I want to share with you the best piece of advice I got from a $50 million a year entrepreneur. So last week was my birthday and I invested over $25,000 to join a mastermind of a multi 8-figure agency owner generating over $4 million a month with his marketing agency. And he shared with me this one piece of advice that I think could help you break through mental barriers when scaling your ads. If you're new to the channel, you don't yet know who I am. My name is Justin and I'm the founder at paidadvertising.com, an online marketing growth firm, having profitably spent over $9.6 million on ads last year alone and having worked now with over 140 plus clients. With that said, let's get straight into today's video. So my new mentor's name is Rich, and I was asking Rich, I was like, hey, look, asking all these questions about the front end and about like how to get, better client results and how could we possibly like improve, the ads that we have. And the reason context around that is we recently launched a brand new local business division a couple of months ago at the agency. And that is something to me that I'm still learning how to massively scale that and apply that to hundreds and hundreds of clients at the same time. So with that said, I thought he was the man given that he had 500 clients on retainer actively with his agency. And he told me this, he's like, Justin, advertising in itself is quote unquote easy. He's like, obviously you can probably get much better results than the average marketer, but the most successful marketers and entrepreneurs do not make their money on the front end. There becomes a point where they stop focusing on decreasing CPMs. They stop focusing on increasing click-through rates. They stop focusing on decreasing customer acquisition costs. They let things be, because as you scale, there simply becomes a point where it's hardly impossible to get incremental improvements on your ads front end. The most successful entrepreneurs focus on making the back end better, making more out of every customer, retaining them, upselling them, increasing lifetime value, and that's what differentiates them from an average marketer. And it's got me thinking about both local businesses and e-commerce brands. When I kind of stepped out and I looked into our most successful e-commerce brands, one of the things I've always said on the channel is how dialed in their organic content is, how dialed in their community strategy is, how dialed in their email and SMS strategy is. All things that you could consider quote unquote back end, right? Things that just propel the ads, things that help you sustain a higher amount of ad spend. Not only that, the brands that we have that have an amazing conversion rate on the website. I brought in my good friend Spencer on the channel a few weeks ago to talk about CRO, and he told us about the Shopify Health Score, right? Which is a metric that you calculate by multiplying the conversion rate you have by the average order value of your website. So if that's above 200, so let's say you have a 1% conversion rate and a $200 AOV, that gives you a 200 Shopify Health Score. If you're at 200 or above, you typically have a healthy brand. But I'm probably going to challenge Spencer and give a twist to that. And I'd go as far as to say that to make this metric more accurate, you'd have to also factor in the bump in lifetime value you get from an e-commerce customer. The biggest problem with most e-commerce brands is mostly that they're too much reliant on the front end to make money. If they don't break even or if they don't profit on that first order, they're done, right? There's no returning customer rate. And even the ones that do have returning customer rate, it might even be too low to be of any significant importance to the brand. Whereas e-commerce brands that are able to increase the lifetime value of a customer post first month by 30, 60%, and so on and so forth, they're the ones succeeding at the end of the day. And now I'm going to make a parallel back to local businesses. That is why actually advertising is sometimes much more profitable and scalable for some of these local businesses. And the truth is, their lifetime value is incredibly high. You work with a roofing business as an example, right? One of your customers come in, they're probably going to be worth 20,000, 30,000, 40,000 to you through their lifetime, which look, it's going to be impossible for you to acquire someone. Like if you're decent in marketing, you'll probably acquire an installation at $400 to $500, like max is what you'll pay for an installation. So in other words, you are largely profitable when advertising here because the back end is just so profitable. But I'll do another parallel to that. A lot of local business now advertisers are trying to lower the cost per lead down. And I'm like, dude, when you reach a cost per lead that is at industry average or lower, stop. There's no point in you trying to increase or lower, I should say, increase your results / lower your cost per lead. All you should be focusing on is getting a better appointment setting team, a better appointment setting process, a better sales team in the back to make more money out of each of these leads. And I'm just kind of baffled every time I speak to either 8 or 9 figure entrepreneurs by how nonchalant they are about their ads. It's like I never have opened an 8 or 9 figure business's ads manager and seen like a 4x ROAS. Never have I ever seen that. It's typically going to be like 1.5, 1.8, 8, 2, right? Or same thing with cost per leads. I never have opened a multi 8-figure, roofing business as an example, or Windows business as I have checked out lately, and saw like an incredibly low cost per lead. It's like, it's okay, it's average, right? I'm not looking at this and thinking like, wow. But these people are nonchalant about the front end because they're just so confident in the way they've set up the back end of their business. Now, the lesson I'm trying to convey through this video from what I've got from my mentor is that there just becomes a point as a marketer where your focus has to switch from trying to make better ads, trying to make better creatives, trying to get, lower costs on the front end, to building a stronger infrastructure to support and accommodate what you're sending through that front end. And that's where you really elevate yourself. You kind of move from a direct response marketer to like more of a CMO level of thinking. And I'm seeing a big rise of fractional CMOs in the e-commerce space, or kind of people needing some of these services, because that I think is something very crucial to most e-commerce brands or local business alike, is there needs to be a mind on the team that understands and can bridge the gap between the front and the back, right? And I think someone who's dialed in one of the two should be able to hop and like be the glue for that other department. And more specifically, I think it's much easier for a good marketer who's dialed in the front end to learn the back end and bridge that gap than from a back end person or a salesperson, right, to come on the front end and figure out the ads. I often find entrepreneurs who are very kind of sales oriented or have an operational mind struggle to then try and master the marketing side of the business. It's like their area of expertise really is systemization, and they think in systems. Whereas I feel that us marketers have had to think in systems for a while, because, or else, first of all, we would have never been able to get more clients. But more specifically, you need to have systems in order to scale even just the front end of a business. So I think it's easier for a marketing brain person to then take on an operational level. And some of the examples that I have close to me from that, one of my best friends, right? He's running ads for a real estate biz op offer in the YouTube ad space. And essentially he had a rising costs in cost per book call lately, where he used to be aiming for like $200 cost per book call, but now a lot of his ads were starting to book calls at $400, $500, $600. But he still made a shit ton of money because his closing rate was very healthy. He's closing at 30%. He's ascending people. People are staying inside of his program and community. They're like recurring. So it's like, do you really have to worry about a raising front end? To a certain extent, yes. Obviously try and keep it as healthy as possible. But I'm just saying, you can sleep much more peacefully at night knowing that your back end takes care of itself. And now I'm sharing a piece of knowledge of kind of taken from my own book. Is I've launched a new local business department a couple of months ago, and that's one of our biggest focuses right now. We're focusing, yes, on filling up the front end of getting more clients through that, but I've been building that with a business partner of mine, and he's built a $200K a month plus agency in the last few years, exited that agency, but his kind of only thing that he had with this agency, or his only kind of concern or problem that he had faced, they were too front end focused. People were leaving after 3 or 4 months, like at most, at the agency, so they really didn't have a good retention rate. Whereas now we're trying to engineer a model that will help us retain clients for much longer than what he had back then, to scale that in the local business space. And I'll bring the same to my business, because what I'm giving you today is true for anyone running ads. Would you be an e-com, local business, info product, agency, name it, right? I too am running ads for our own e-commerce marketing agency, right? And our cost per call is anywhere around $200 on a good day, maybe $125 to $200, let's just put it that way. It'll move between those. But then it's like we have a 9 to 10 month retention average at the agency, times multiple thousands of dollars retainer. It's a very good lifetime value. I can afford to pay quite a lot for a customer on the front end. And luckily, we're usually at least breaking even on the first month when it comes to acquisition. But all of that to say, any business that focuses on a healthy back end will have a much easier time scaling the front end. And I think this is a response I give to a lot of mostly, I'd say, intermediate marketers, because I think a lot of beginners, they truly struggle with the front end. They don't have good ads. They don't have a good click-through rate. They don't have the right creatives. Intermediate marketers, they typically have a pretty dialed in front end. Like they'll start to have within average, click-through rates, within average cost per leads, within average cost per acquisitions. And then they'll keep like racking their brain about, man, how do I make this better? How do I get like a 10% improvement? And it's like, stop going for that incremental lift on that front end. Just start helping yourself, your clients, whatever, whoever you're working with, help them dial in the back end. Focus there. That's where the money is at. If you're working with local businesses or you're a local business yourself, it's in the appointment setting and in the sales process. That's where the money is made. If you're an e-commerce brand, improve conversion rate, improve average order value, improve cross sells, upsells, right? Those are all ways to improving average order value, improve lifetime value. So have better email flows that have people kind of come back through email, have a better organic system that will help you again get returning customers. That's how you survive in the long run. So I hope you've enjoyed today's video. Now, if you made it all the way through and you are an e-commerce or info product business wanting to work with a paid ads partner on Facebook, Google, and or TikTok, and you want someone who cares just as much as you as making your business holistically good, so bridging the gap between front and back end, then book in a call down below to speak with our team today at paidadvertising.com. And on that note, gonna wish you an amazing day. I invite you to check out other videos on the channel for some more useful marketing tips, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.